Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Beav, like a beaver, and in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 tips to help you get a better conversion rate on your online store. Now, there's a few things you guys need to understand about conversion rate. We're gonna go over the mathematical equation for what that actually is, but we're also gonna talk about how traffic can affect your conversion rate, and then we're gonna talk about how to effectively increase your conversion rate in 5 different ways, and then I have a bonus tip for you at the end as well. Let's start with understanding the mathematical equation to what a conversion rate actually is. That's taking the number of purchases you've had and dividing that by the number of sessions on your website. So in my case, during this month, I had 7,847 purchases. You divide that by 307,559 sessions, and that gives you 0.0255 or 2.55% conversion rate. Now for simple math, that's 2 purchases divided by, say, 100 sessions would give you 0.02 or 2% conversion rate. Now, before we get started in the first tip, it's good to understand what a good conversion rate actually is and what that looks like, because in the beginning, there's a lot of people that have very low volume of traffic. Maybe you're getting 100 people or a couple hundred people, but that very small group of people are coming for a very specific reason, and they're there to buy. They might be your friends or family or something along those lines. So your conversion rate could be 5%, 8%, 10%. Like, that's a crazy number. Typically a good conversion rate is 2 to 5%, and depending on the price point of your product and what you sell, as low as 1.5%. If you have something that's really expensive, could be considered a good conversion rate. But the goal of this video is to take it from where you're at now and increase it while also increasing the volume of your traffic, because inevitably what's going to happen is when you first start out and you've got that small group of people who are coming specifically to make a purchase, as you start running ads and driving more traffic to your site, your conversion rate is going to plummet. You're going to say, hey, I used to have a 5% conversion rate. What happened? Well, what happened was you're sending a lot of new cold traffic to your site, people who aren't familiar with you, people who've never been there before, etc. So these 5 tips will hopefully help you maintain a reasonable conversion rate as you increase that traffic. So tip number 1, speaking of traffic, is going to be the quality of your traffic. You want to make sure that you get good, high quality traffic to your site. You don't want just to increase your numbers for the sake of saying I have so many X amount of visitors coming to my site. You want qualified traffic. So what does that mean? You want to make sure that you're using highly targeted audience when you're doing, say, Facebook ads or Pinterest ads or whatever the case is, Instagram, etc. You want to make sure that you're using lookalike audiences if you have enough purchase data from your store to create an audience of people who've made a purchase on Facebook, and then create a lookalike audience based off of those purchasers. Like, that would be a very good audience, which would be pretty highly targeted depending on the size of that audience and how much data it has. Another good way to do that is taking your email addresses of people who've purchased from you and uploading those into Facebook, and you can create an audience that way of people who've purchased. If your pixel data doesn't have enough people or enough of an audience there, you can upload those email addresses, and then you can create a lookalike audience off of that, and Facebook will then go out and it'll find people that look just like the people who've purchased from you, therefore more qualified traffic, ideally higher intent based off of interests and things of that nature. Another thing to make sure that you're doing is relevant keywords. So on the SEO side of things, so with Google search engines, make sure that you're using good SEO. SEO, by the way, stands for search engine optimization, if you didn't know. And you want to make sure that you're using the right keywords and not misleading people to click on your page. Because what happens is you get somebody who thinks they're coming there for one thing, but what you sell is another thing, and then they end up bouncing, and then your bounce rate becomes really high. You want to keep your bounce rate as low as possible, 40%, 30%, like keep it as low as possible. A lot of these numbers are going to get skewed. It's very hard to keep them in line as you increase your volume of traffic to your website. A last thing that I will leave you with on the quality of traffic is influencers. Everyone wants a shout out from some influencer with millions of followers or whatever the case is, but that's not always a good thing. You want to make sure that you are using somebody relevant who has a relevant audience to what you sell or what your service is or whatever it is, because traffic just for the sake of traffic doesn't do you any good. Because once you get down the funnel of retargeting people who've been on your website, you're just retargeting people who didn't have much intent. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. But the quality of traffic will help you maintain a reasonable conversion rate. One of the telling signs that the traffic you're sending to your site isn't good or isn't relevant is that bounce rate. If it goes shooting through the roof to 70% or 80% and you're not getting any conversions, that's a good sign that the audience that you're running ads to, or that you're marketing to, or the influencer you used, that means it's not good, and I would switch it up a little bit. Okay, on to tip number 2. The second tip, now that you've got all that traffic to your website, you have to know what to do with those people so that they don't bounce. If they are qualified, if they are relevant, etc., you want to make sure that the user experience on your website is good. You want to make sure you have a good, clear, concise message on your homepage. They understand who you are, what the brand is, what you sell, what your service is, all those kinds of things. You want to make sure it's very clear. And then you want to make sure that the navigation to your products are very intuitive. There's things to keep in mind, like we read in an F pattern, right? From top to bottom, left to right. So make sure that you're positioning your most popular products in that top left position, and then across, and then moving down accordingly. And a lot of this stuff sounds like it's like a no-brainer, but sometimes we get tunnel vision and we just assume that everyone knows our brand and everyone knows our product and they know exactly where to find it on your website. You need to take a step back sometimes and try to look at your website and navigate your website as a consumer who doesn't know anything about you, who doesn't know your product, who doesn't know your brand, and think, if I was Joe Blow, some real idiot dummy who doesn't know anything at all, would they be able to navigate the site and find what they're looking for? Another step to take beyond that is to get friends and family to look at it, which sometimes they're biased and they want to tell you it looks great and all that stuff, but tell them, I want an honest opinion. I want real feedback. What do you think about the site? Where could I make improvements? When you're first starting out, this is a huge step because you don't have a lot of money or resources available oftentimes to dump it into softwares and programs like Hotjar. So Hotjar is something that you can run a heat map on your website. It'll show you where people are clicking, where people are scrolling. It'll even do things like recording people on your site, and you can watch them navigate your site and use the site, where they fall off, what they clicked on, what they didn't click on, what they were trying to click on but couldn't. You can learn a lot from it, but it costs money. And you need a lot of data from those types of things to be able to make informed decisions. So you need like 5,000 to 10,000 visitors to funnel through a particular page to gain real data from it so you can make those informed decisions. So wait to do the heat maps until a little bit later, unless you have a lot of traffic already and you're trying to optimize. But if you're just starting out and you only have a few hundred or a few thousand visitors to the site a month, I would just rely on some people around you to help give you insight. Have a little focus group, buy everybody beer and pizza, and sit down on a computer and look at it together and get some feedback on where they think you could make some improvements on the user experience on your site. Okay, now before I move on to tip number 3, here's what you need to really focus on and remember as you reformat your website potentially, or you're setting it up for the first time and you're trying to optimize things. Every page on your website has one job to do. The home page is to get people to a collection page. The collection page is to get people to a product page. The product page, ideally, you get them to add to cart and you get them to the shopping cart page, and that cart page needs to get them to proceed to checkout. If you keep some of those things in mind and how they funnel through the site, it starts to make things click a little easier, and you want to remove unnecessary information, things that might get them to click away or get to another page that doesn't help them convert. You want to kind of funnel them down that conversion path. Even if you have a blog, try to get that blog. Sometimes you want to be very careful about how transactional you are about it, but you want to get that blog to funnel them back into the sales funnel of the website somehow, to a product page or to a collection, or maybe you're retargeting them later on Facebook back to the website, etc. Okay, moving on to tip number 3, and that's pictures and videos. You know, when your customers are on your store shopping online, it's not like they're walking into a store and they can pick that product up off the shelf and touch it and feel it and sniff it and all that kind of stuff. So you need to make sure that your pictures are gonna really convey accurately what your product is from all angles, and you know, showing them what's important to them about the product that you sell. Because believe it or not, as much as you write about your product, most people, I promise you, most people are not reading your product description on your website. So the more photos that you can have of your product, the better. And if you can include a video with that as well, it'll go a very long way and help increase that conversion rate as your volume of traffic increases, I promise. Okay, tip number 4, this one, I love this one. The terminology comes from my good friend Kurt of the Unofficial Shopify podcast, Objection Busters. Tip number 4 is to gain trust in your customers. So bust any objection they may have to not make a purchase from you. So you need to have those product reviews and site reviews so that people trust that this is a real site. All these people got their product. They love it. This is what they have to say about it. You want to make sure that you have good, clear contact information on your website. So, you know, whether that's a phone number at the top of the header, if that is a very obvious email address somewhere, a contact button, form, some way to make people feel like you are a real person, a real business, that if they have a problem, they are going to be able to reach out to you and get an answer or get the problem solved if they're looking for their package, etc. So trust is a big one. Another big objection is shipping information and shipping cost. People want to know when they're going to receive it and how much it's going to cost. Shipping cost is the number one reason for abandoned carts. We'll talk about that in just a second as well. But if you take a few notes from Amazon, and this is something we've implemented on our site as well, is we've added a software that will tell the customer when they can receive it by. So we're not so much worried about the 2-day shipping, 3-day shipping, because everyone has their own interpretation of what that means. Does that mean business days? Does it not mean business days? Is it gonna ship today? Is it gonna ship tomorrow? We eliminated all those kinds of languages over the years and learning and taking notes and what matters and looking at different softwares. And now we just tell the customer, get it by Wednesday. And if, you know, and then there's other shipping options as well, but if they know when they're going to receive it and you deliver on that promise, you've won. And then the shipping costs, you know, if you can offer free shipping, that's a huge bonus. That's an objection buster. That's one more reason that they're not going to abandon that shopping cart and they're going to make a purchase, therefore increasing your conversion rate. But don't do the free shipping thing if your business model and the economics around it don't support that. Don't go broke or don't just break even to give free shipping just for the sake of making a sale, because you have to be profitable. So be very careful about that. Negotiating shipping rates is a real thing. Like if you have some shipping volume or you can ship on a third-party logistics shipping account and get better shipping rates, that's a very big deal, because then you might be able to offer that free shipping and then, you know, increase your conversion rate from there. Now, before I move on to tip number 5, since you're still here watching, I would really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. You'll want to stick around on the channel as we help you scale your store to 6 and 7 figures a month as I go in more depth around a lot of the topics we're talking about. Not to mention all of the videos I have already with a lot of the Facebook ad tutorials and how to scale your shipping and things of that nature. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you get notified of the next ones. Okay, tip number 5, and then I've got a bonus for you after that one. Tip number 5 is remarketing. This is the lowest hanging fruit that every store should be doing, no matter what size you are, no matter what volume you're doing, no matter how old the store is. Remarketing. You want to advertise to the people who've already been to your site, but not just everybody. Remember when I talked about that bounce rate back in like tip number 1 of, you know, the amount of people who are coming to your store that maybe just kind of landed there on accident and then bounce. You don't want to spend your money retargeting and re-advertising to those people. You want to get people who had a little bit more intent. And how do you do that? You can do that by what pages they landed on your site, how long were they on your site, things of that nature. So you want to retarget people who had the most intent to make a purchase but didn't make a purchase. And you can do that on Facebook. You can do that via email. You can do that with text marketing. So on Facebook, you can just remarket people who maybe only came to product pages and then exclude people who've purchased, because you don't want to remarket to the people who've already purchased, because that's dumb and you might be incentivizing that with 10% off. Maybe they didn't use 10% off and now they're emailing you to get the 10% off, and now you're just answering emails all day long and trying to refund 10% to everybody. And we'll get into that maybe in another video of like customer service type related stuff. But at any rate, email, abandoned carts emails. Hopefully you're doing that already, but a lot of like the native stuff in Shopify, you get one email and a couple different time frames to send it in. You want to send a series of emails. What those emails are is kind of up to you, whether that's, first email being kind of a customer service oriented type email of, hey, I saw that you tried to make a purchase and you weren't able to complete your checkout. Was there a problem? Can I help you with something? Do you have any questions? Just hit reply. I'm happy to help. Or sometimes the first email is like, hey, come back and save 10%. That's totally up to you. But what you need to understand is like all that traffic you start sending to your site, most people don't make a purchase on the first website visit. It can take 7 to 15 impressions of your brand before somebody's willing to like take their wallet out, open it up, and give you their money. So you have to be in front of them multiple times. So that's where abandoned cart email comes in, a second abandoned cart, maybe a third abandoned cart, mixed with a couple of Facebook ads. Maybe you got their phone number and you can text them. Maybe you're remarketing to people with organic Facebook ads and Instagram ads and things of that nature. So like that's where those impressions start to build up, where they've seen it 7, 8, 9, 12 times, and they're willing to finally make that purchase. I've actually already got a video on this topic of remarketing to people and taking advantage of that low-hanging fruit. You can click this card right here. I'll also leave a link to a bunch of other videos and resources in the description below. Okay, now the last and final bonus tip, the bonus round for those of you who stuck around this long. Repeat customer purchases. If you are lucky enough to have a brand, a product line, the ability to sell things to customers more than once, that is amazing. Not everybody has a product to do. Like for us, for example, like a lot of people come to us, they buy a diaper bag or they buy this set and they don't really come back. They've got everything they need off the first purchase. Trying to get people to come back and make another purchase again can be difficult for a lot of brands. And that's where you have to continue to innovate and come out with new stuff and things of that nature. But getting them back via email or organically is a big deal. And that's another thing that'll help you increase that conversion rate, because they already know you, they already trust you. You've delivered on that experience, and ideally that's what happened, right? You delivered on that experience. They give you the good review that you need to gain trust in the other customers from tip number 1 or 4 or whatever tip that was, of the objection busters, like building those reviews. But you have to deliver on your promise in order for this cycle to happen, for them to become a new customer the first time, have a good experience, come back and want to buy more. Or maybe you can offer a subscription service, but if you kind of screw up the first time around, they're not likely to continue that subscription if you didn't deliver on your initial promise. So repeat customer purchases can be a big deal. I think an industry average is somewhere around 20%, if I remember right. It's like 15 to 20% of customers coming back to make another purchase. That will be solid for you once you kind of get that ball rolling. You have that momentum, and 30 days later, they're coming back to buy something else again. As I mentioned before, I've got a lot of other tutorials on the channel and some more in-depth videos coming around the topics that we talked about in this video to help you guys scale your stores to 6 and 7 figures a month. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.